I have to apologize for having this video up so late and for not having an actual video with it. It's just audio in this video because, well, quite frankly, I'm a mess, the room's a mess, it's a whole lot of mess, and I would rather not subject you to that. So instead I will show pretty pictures as I go over this week's episode of The Legend of Korra. Now, I do have some comments I want to make about the series overall up to the point that we're at this week, but I will put that towards the end, so you won't have to listen to me rant before the review. So we'll just have the review up first, and then a little kind of my thoughts about how this series has been going so far, and a reflection on looking back at the past week's episodes. So this episode is episode 8, When Extremes Meet. And we open up with Mako, Bolin, and Asami arriving at the Air Temple Island, where they meet all the airbender children, and they all kind of take a liking to Pabu. And Miho kind of flirts with Asami, which is cute. And then Korra takes Asami to her room, and Iki mentions that Korra likes Mako to Asami and kind of freaks out momentarily. Korra and Asami talk a little bit about the room, and it's kind of like a little bit of banter. But then we see Captain Saikhan. I'm not really sure. I forgot how to pronounce it. It's been a while since I saw the episode. He is made the chief of police in place of Lin, and announces that all Equalist information will be passed down to Tarrlok, which of course neither Tenzin nor Korra is very happy about. So they go to talk to him, but, you know, he kind of is all snarky to Korra, talking about, oh, now you're done playing around with your pro bending, maybe now you can come help me. But Korra's like, no, fuck you, I'm the Avatar, I don't need your help, I can do whatever I want. And then Tarrlok calls her a half-baked Avatar and training who can't airbend, which is horrible, but it's like, I feel like we haven't seen her airbend at all, so it's just kind of like, when she's about, like, I've been training and learning all these things, I'm like, really, when has that been happening? Because all I've been seeing you do is, like, moon over Mako and pro bend, and then go, you know, do the Equalist thing. But Tenzin tells Korra that, you know, she should try to contact her past selves, but she talks about how she can't because, she sucks at the spiritual aspects of being an avatar. But Tenzin tells her to meditate on the little visions that she's been getting. She's still upset about it, and she's crying, and then Mako, Bolin, Asami, and Pabu all find her, and they reform Team Avatar, which was like, it's a nice callback to the show, but considering that last week Mako was ready to completely dump Korra as a friend for having accused Asami's father of something, well, I'm not really sure if I can believe that they're Team Avatar. And like, when are Asami and Korra best friends? I mean, they haven't developed their friendship on any level. I mean, last week she, you know, got rid of her father. I don't see why they would suddenly qualify to be a Team Avatar unit, but, you know, it's for the sake of the story. They want to move everything together. So they go in Asami's Sato mobile, and apparently it has a police scanner inside of the car, so they go looking for Equalists, and they have a really great chase scene. But of course the animation in Avatar is always good, so the chase scene of course is excellent, and they locate the Equalist group escaping and recapture them. But then Tarrlok comes and kind of pulls a Lin, actually, from earlier, and tells her that all she was doing was impeding the actual officers by chasing after them. But then Korra's like, you know, you didn't have anyone chasing them, which is suspicious, of course, but, you know, we're not really sure what Tarrlok's after at this point. And then Tarrlok, the next day, puts out this law that prohibits anyone to join the Equalists and puts a curfew out on non-benders, which, you know, there's so many funny things about this episode. They're not, like, funny because haha, but more funny because of the political aspects of what they're saying about putting the curfew on all the non-benders. It's like, you're not slick, Mike and Brian. But it was good. And Tenzin says that these laws restrict them, but the council, you know, the nameless council that really doesn't need to exist because they don't do anything, votes for Tarrlok, And the new Team Avatar, quote unquote, gets a supposed Equalist rally feed from the scanner, and they find that the Councilman has taken all these non-benders and kind of housed them together, and the innocent people are calling for Korra to help because saying that, like, she's their avatar too. And while she tries to talk with Tarrlok, he completely ignores her and arrests not only the non-benders, but Asami, Mako, and Bolin. Korra goes to Tenzin to try to resolve the issue, but everyone's in Tarrlok's pocket. So Korra has no choice but then to go to City Hall and meet Tarrlok. And she says that he's been intimidating people using bending and doing exactly what Amon wants. And Tenzin kind of throws the same thing back at her, which I really liked because it's true. Korra does use her bending to intimidate people. And then they start fighting each other. He uses his water bending to kind of force her up into this wall and using all these like razor sharp icicles, which was really well done. But Korra eventually uses earth bending to earthbend the walls and knock Tarrlok down. However, he pulls the biggest twist of the episode is that he is a bloodbender, and he can bloodbend without a full moon. And he takes control of Korra and slams her into a column, and then she has another vision of Aang, Toph, and Sokka at this trial. And it kind of seems to show that the guy smirking at them is kind of bloodbending them, because you see all of them struggling to kind of get loose. And then Tarrlok ties Korra up and puts her in a car and starts driving out to God knows where. And this episode was the first episode that I felt really, in the second half of this series, has moved the plot along to a great degree. But in this, I have to really talk about my kind of issues that I find with the show overall, is that they have not developed everything well enough. I feel like I don't understand certain aspects of the show because they haven't explained it. Like, first of all, okay, just to go on one of my biggest beefs that I don't really understand is why Korra hasn't gone into the Avatar state yet. Okay, as defined by Roku. And so this is what I'm going off, is when Roku was describing the Avatar state to Aang, he said that the Avatar state is a defense mechanism used to help protect the Avatar. So that's what the Avatar state is supposed to be. But we have not seen Korra go into the Avatar state in several instances where her life has been in some serious danger. Now, the thing I hear from other people telling me is that because of her spiritual kind of laxness, she can't access the spirit world. That's why she can't access the Avatar state. But it's a defense mechanism. Why should it matter if she can't access that part of her abilities yet? Shouldn't it just kind of like force through? Because that's the whole thing. It doesn't. When Aang first goes into the Avatar state, he can't control it. He hasn't completely mastered that part of himself yet, and he still meditates. So it should. So my whole thing is that it should be able to force through whatever boundaries you have and attack, because that's what we've been told that it does anyway. You know, when you get to a certain plateau as an Avatar, you can control it, but until then, it's just supposed to force its way through to protect the Avatar. Why hasn't it done it yet? Like, why haven't we seen that happen? In terms of just all the characters, you know, when the pro bending stuff first started, I liked it because I thought it was a really interesting way to kind of show the changes in society and so on and so forth. But now, when I was rewatching the episodes to prepare for this video, I was kind of annoyed that I felt like the pro bending matches were supposed to be a supplement to actual character developments for Mako, Bolin, and Korra's relationship as friends. Instead of actually seeing them work together, we see them fight together, and that's supposed to sort of play the role in showing, see, they work well together, therefore you can see that they're, you know, they get along, so on and so forth. But then you have stuff where Mako becomes a complete a-hole to Korra and doesn't trust her judgment and anything. So it's like, but you're showing me two different things that don't make sense. You haven't really built up their relationship. Like, why? I don't believe them as Team Avatar because they have not gone anywhere. the adults are more developed than our actual teen leads. I mean, besides Korra, because she's our protagonist, so we see her struggles, her fears, those things to a degree. But Asami's character is not well developed. Everything we found out about her last episode was posted on her Wikipedia page, weeks before her character even appeared on television. So none of that stuff was new information or information that, really tell us who she is as a person. Bolin is endearing, but at the same time, he has not been anything other than comic relief and romantic fodder. Mako is the same thing. I mean, we know some things about Mako's personality, but on the whole, I feel like his character has not developed beyond, I'm in a relationship with Asami, I kind of like Korra, I'm a little bit broody, and I'm the firebender guy. Like, that does not make a character. Like, at this point, there are 12 episodes for this season of this book of Avatar, Book Air. I don't feel like we have gotten the whole situation right. Like, how does this whole city work? We know that there are, like, council members for, the two water tribes, the Earth Kingdom, and then for some reason Tenzin's there. Like, first of all, I don't even know really why Tenzin is there, because there are only 3 airbenders in existence, excluding himself. I guess he's just there because, the air acolytes, but they're non-benders. I don't know what it isn't a non-bender on the council. I think they should address that at some point, because that seems kind of important, because the rights of non-benders aren't being shown on the council, and that's something that they haven't touched on. The water tribe, other water tribe member, the Earth Kingdom, and the Fire Nation just sit there. If they have names, I could not care less. They're just there. I don't see the point of having them in the show. Like, if all you're gonna do is play off this dichotomy between Tarrlok and Tenzin, why didn't you just, ignore the other characters? Like, there's time for them to come in, because, we have 3 episodes left. But in 3 episodes, like, why would they even matter? Why were those things developed beforehand? The characters, the universe we're living in. Like, we just are now seeing all the things that benders can do to non-benders. And while I've been arguing that it's been implied and it's easy to see where Amon is coming from, we have not until now gotten real solid visual evidence of that. And it's done by Tarrlok, who is the villain, another villain on the show. So at the same time, while it shows, oppression done to non-benders, it's done by a character who is quote-unquote evil. So while it shows the prejudice, it's also done by a character who you're not supposed to like anyway, so it's kind of like, that's not really just what privilege is. It's not something that's done by evil, oppressive forces. And so that kind of bothered me. The fact that, we have no female camaraderie on this show. I mean, in this episode, we saw Asami get kind of jealous when Mako let Korra into the car. And it's like, we have 4 adult female reoccurring characters in this show, besides the children. Korra, Asami, Pima, and Lin. And all of them are romantic rivals with each other. Like, it's Korra and Asami for Mako, and then it was Lin and Pima for Tenzin. Like, there's no friendships between females, and it's like, even if Korra may like Iki and Jinora, they're kids. They're not like equals. And, like, you want her and Asami to be friends, but their entire relationship is based off the 2 of them being rivals for Mako, not them actually being any genuine friendship. And so that's kind of a bust, because that's what I liked about, eventually seeing Katara and Toph becoming friends, and never having, like, a guy be impeding on their friendship. It was, they fought it because they were opposites, not because, they were both after Aang or some random person. So, I guess I'm just like, while I still think this show is really good, because that's the thing, it's not a bad show, and I still enjoy it, but I feel like, in terms of writing, things are not as tight as they should be in a series this short, especially when they only have a half an hour. I mean, this isn't like they even have a full hour-long episode, with their 12-episode break. They only have a half an hour, plus commercials that were, like, excessively long this episode for some goddamn reason. It was annoying. But they don't have enough time to have filler and all these extra fluffy things that they're adding to the plot, because the last half of this episode was really strong. It was. But why is it that last half you do not have the time to have cuteness for like a good 15 minutes, 12 minutes, and then another 12 minutes of just good. You have to have the entire thing be solid now, be plot moving, because that's at the point you are in. From episode 5 on, they should have just been like, we gotta go. Anything that you wanted to make, happy, joy, fluffiness, put that in the past episodes and have that be well. And then when you had Amon, blow up the stadium, just keep going from then on. But that should have been pushed back more. Like, the pearl bending was really not that important in the huge scope of the story. So I feel like, why was that there beyond, to show off great animation? But we know that's going to be great. Like, the animation is always, for the most part, on point. That's not news. So I guess I'm really happy with Legend of Korra in all different kinds of ways. But as a whole, I feel like the writing could be a lot stronger. But that's just me. It's not to bash the show or say I don't like it. I still enjoy it very much. But thinking about it and rewatching the episodes without just being excited, like, oh my god, Korra's on, those things came into my mind. And I'm just kind of, I still have a lot of questions about how this new society works. And I feel like the writing has not answered them yet. But I am hopeful, since this episode really did have Korra acknowledge some issues, finally, it only took 8 episodes, that hopefully now we will get in 9, 10, 11, and 12 more of that. And so I still have high hopes for this show. I do believe in Bright, but at the same time, I have to remember that Bright may have created the show, but they had different writers when they originally had Avatar: The Last Airbender. They had editors and people working on it too, whereas these episodes are only written by them. So that could explain some of the reasons why things are kind of different now, but I have hope, and I'm hoping everything will work out.
Oh, and I realized that I forgot to talk about really quick when Korra said to Tarrlok, "You're just like Amon." He had this kind of expression on his face. I don't think this means that he's Amon. I think he's somehow related to Amon, or he has a history with Amon. If he is Amon, that was like the biggest, like, that would really suck. I really don't want Tarrlok, fucking Brown Gaston, to be Amon. I think that would be kind of cheesy. I think it's great to have Amon be his own villain separate from Tarrlok. But I guess they want it to be someone we've seen already. But I don't know. I'm not for him being the big bad. It just wouldn't work well for me. So yeah.